Welcome to Happily Ever Aftermath,
the podcast where we discuss relationships in movies and our relationships with them.
I'm Polina Grenville.
And I'm Diana Rojek-Sconard.
Hello, Diana.
Polina, I've gone numb with holiday cheer.
Yeah. Is that what they call it these days?
I mean, sure.
Can I ask you, like, what's your, before we launch into the movie, how do you get into the Christmas spirit when you're feeling like at the beginning of the season, when you feel a little Scroogey? Like, what are some of your sort of holiday rituals?
Holiday rituals?
Like when you're like, you're in that you have to sort of transition into the holiday spirit.
Well, what
do you do?
Well, we have a tradition in my family, and I really like to celebrate Thanksgiving before we move into Christmas.
Completely agree.
Mm-hmm. And part of that is, so our family has grown bigger and bigger and bigger. Mm-hmm. And with my siblings' children, it got to the point where they were saying like, hey, how about instead of everyone buying for everybody and it getting completely, expensive that as it had been, why don't we just buy for the kids?
Right.
And
that's what we do too.
I would raise my hand and say like, that's all fine for you because you all have kids.
That's the problem with mine.
We don't have kids. Right. So I said, how about all of the adults go to Secret Santa? Mm-hmm. And so we do that. And so that's when I gear myself up for it as well.
When you choose the Secret Santa person. Mm-hmm. Nice.
Yeah. And so it's just like, it's officially Christmas.
Yeah, that's so nice. Do you guys do that at Thanksgiving?
We do.
Oh, that's so nice.
And my brother who lives in Ohio, he can't, but what we do is we do it while he's on the phone. And then I'm the one who like organizes it. So like I get the little pieces of paper and I write everybody's name on it. And then I let them pick out of a hat. And then we'll represent the people who are in Ohio that we're doing. And then I'll text everybody the list of who buys for.
Oh, nice.
Type of thing. So it's
actually a nice, yeah, that is actually nice. Cause it's like, yeah, you're all together and you're doing it.
I really like it. And it's family time.
Yeah.
And my dad's gravy is my favorite part of my favorite holiday.
Gravy is my favorite part of, Thanksgiving. And Thanksgiving, I think this is something we share. I think Thanksgiving is is one of the best holidays. But gravy. And so I really wish I could try your dad's gravy. It's a little fantasy I have.
Let me, okay, well, let's.
Yeah. But we don't need to discuss those logistics. Just, I'm just putting it out there.
It was more about the word fantasy, which I'm all for having a desire to try it. But if you say you have a fantasy to try it, I'm not sure how to respond to that. So,
and it gets weird.
So in turn,
anyway, moving on. Speaking of fantasy, let's talk about Love Actually. So this is part 2 of our 2-parter because there's so much with Love Actually. And to me, I was actually, the reason I asked that question is because, and we didn't talk about this at the first part, we covered 5 of the couples, and now we're going to cover the next 4 remaining stories. And so you should probably listen to if you're interested, you should probably listen to part 1, which you can find in your favorite podcatcher. Under Happily Ever Aftermath. So,
and if for some reason you jumped into part 2 right away and you have never heard of Love Actually,
yes,
the Google results show Love Actually.
Your like avoidance of pop culture is impressive. I want to be your best friend.
Additionally, you also did not read the title of this, so Love Actually 2003.
Yeah.
9 intertwined stories examine the complexities of the one emotion that connects us all. Love. I would say fear connects us all too.
Yeah. Fear. Yes. I feel like it's a very complicated question. What really connects us? Yeah. I agree with you, fear. So I was actually happy when you chose this film. When you discussed with me, doing this as a 2-parter, because I feel like the timing of this, it's hard for me to gear up sometimes for the holidays. And I am lucky enough that I get to, mostly my sort of the things I celebrate are kind of complicated. But I think that, I'm very lucky because I have all these friends who I get to kind of participate in their holiday rituals. So one of my things is doing Christmas tree with one of my oldest friends in the world, and also separately with not just one, but two of my oldest friends in the world. And we all met in high school, and we all live out here, which is crazy. We met in New Jersey. And also picking out a tree with my husband's best friend and his two kids, and it's like my favorite thing that I look forward to. So, and we set up the tree, and we also do some Hanukkah stuff. So I feel really lucky, but it's always hard to get into it. And this is such a, I thought this would be like a good jumpstart for me. And mixed results. But but I have to say one thing about this movie. Really, really makes me want to spend Christmas in London. One time. I would just like to, experience that.
Okay, so Christmas in London, my dad's gravy, and
I have a lot of wishes for this holiday season. Okay. I'd also like a Sonos and one of those Philips Smart Hue light systems. Yeah.
Okay, I can barely get to the gravy, so you're gonna really have to.
I'm just putting that out there for anyone that wants to buy me expensive presents.
I can send you with a bottle of water on the way home.
That would be that actually would be really awesome.
The gift of hydration.
Hey, look, I need hydration. I don't need a Sonos.
You need it to live.
Yes. So actually, that is the best gift.
You're welcome.
All
right.
Let's go.
So for this round of Love Actually, we will be covering, let's see here, Karen and David.
It's Karen and Harry.
Oh, sorry. Well, technically, we will be covering Karen and David.
We will be covering Karen and David as well.
As they are brother and sister. So Karen is played by Emma Thompson, and her husband is Harry, played by Alan Rickman. And she happens to be the younger sister, actually, of David, who is the prime minister, played by Hugh Grant.
So she kind of treats him like, until she pointed that out, I really thought, my assumption was right?
Well, why wouldn't you be bitter that your younger sibling is the prime minister? So I guess it's okay that they're the older sibling, but that's still difficult in life.
That's true. Yeah, that you're like, you're the little sister, so it all makes sense.
Little sister.
I mean, she does talk about how it's like talking to him sort of does. I mean, he is a new prime minister. He's just come on like
pretty young
this time. Yeah.
He's supposed to be, I suppose, Tony Blair-ish.
Yes, that's my guess.
Well, that's what the trivia said.
Oh, good.
I know nothing about international politics.
I mean, I assume that at some point he meets the president of the United States, and I assume that was clearly supposed to be a Clinton-esque character.
It's actually an amalgam of George W. Bush and Clinton, because he's supposed to be like, sharpshooter, but at the same time charismatic and sexually harassing the staff.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I feel like in this whole movie, really, the Americans do not come off well. I just realized USA. Yeah. Like I felt like they're like, when I read that it was a joint, it was like a joint project between like, a US studio, and I was like, I feel like really, that surprised me, because I feel like literally all the Americans are either, even like Laura Linney just comes off as sad. It's like a tragic story, though she's amazing, and she's the nicest one out of everybody in here.
I say she's in the top 5 of people in this movie.
Yeah.
And probably top 2, because I said people and not couples.
Right.
And or love interest. Okay, so hear more about that in part 1. All right. So David is interested in Natalie, who is his catering manager, and she is their relationship is very bumbling. So until it gets serious.
I mean, they're both bumbling.
They're both bumbling people.
Like they are bumbling people, and then they bumble together.
Yes, and until it gets all serious with the the president of the United States. Damn it, Billy Bob Thornton.
Yeah.
All right.
Who actually is hysterical in this movie.
I don't know if hysterical is the right word. Slimy.
Yeah, I mean, he does good work in this movie. Like whether or not all the Americans come off terribly, as if like it's a good, it's a nice dig at the U.S. But
USA,
exactly.
Also included in this group will be Daniel, portrayed by Liam Neeson. I would say he's a fascinating, fun dad, but I think he needs work in terms of being a good father.
Okay, this is not me, but I was reading FiveThirtyEight did this like analysis of the movie, and we'll link to that. I mean, it's very tongue in cheek, and if you're one of those people that this movie is like, you know, this is your part of your kind of Christmas, this is your go-to. It's kind of a cynical article about this movie, though clearly with some love. But at one point he says, and this is exactly he said. Yeah, he shows like some questionable parenting, which only gets worse with time because later on his children get taken. Like his parenting, he never really gets better.
Maybe we should save this for what happens next.
Yes, exactly.
So somehow his son disappears and he has a daughter.
It's a exactly. It's a stepson, so, you know, easy come, easy go.
Well, in the questionable parenting thing, though, I will say that when he says, like, you know, oh, he's kind of interested in this one person, no, I can't focus on that. I got to focus on you, because if not, you know, you're out of here, kid, you know, because we're going to want to have sex in every single one of these rooms,
including yours. I was like, whoa, okay.
See, in 2003, that was funny.
And even the actor who plays his son
from Game of Thrones,
Thomas Sangster.
Sangster.
Oh my God, I cannot read my own writing.
That's not. Oh, that is your writing. I was reading off of our handy dandy map.
Yeah, well, I was reading off of my writing, which is obviously a terrible idea. He even like looks at him like, what?
It's one of those tropes of the kid is the parent and the parent is the kid,
right?
I suppose, in a matter, but
no, I don't. Yeah.
Well, not in a. How about that? The kid is brilliant and serious.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Well, the actual love story. I mean, now granted, Daniel will have. Okay, so Daniel is.
Well, this is hard because I feel like a lot of this is there's also the love story between Daniel and Sam because they are not blood relatives. He is not his child, but he is. His wife has passed away, and this is his wife's son.
I ain't got blood. I got family.
Yeah.
I don't know. I made this about the Fast and the Furious.
I'm very impressed that you remember actual words spoken about Fast and Furious movies. All I remember is like, cars and babies and fighting.
No, I remember that movie very well.
Yeah. That's exactly it. That's all I remember.
Pew, pew, pew.
And Rosie Perez.
There's a what?
Oh wait, she wasn't in that movie. Somebody. Anyway. Okay.
Charlize Theron.
Moving on. Oh, she was okay.
Helen Mirren.
Moving on. So we are.
I don't think we fully connected it because Daniel and Sam.
Yeah, I just feel like that is a love story on its own.
It's okay. The core of the story involving Liam Neeson, Daniel and Sam, is Daniel and Sam. Now, as it's happening, Sam he reveals that he's in love.
The thrust of the story is not just that they're obviously both dealing with grief. That's a big thrust of the story. But that Sam is in love with Joanna, who is a school
Olivia Olsen.
Yeah, who's also American.
Yes. USA.
Actually, she comes off the best because she just has an amazing voice and then travels. I don't think she ever says a word other than Sam. Of course I knew who you were. She did say a few words. But as we covered before, there's not a lot to go on with any of these people. Okay. And actually Daniel also has a love story that we don't really see much of, which is sort of incidental, which is Carol, which I don't think we need to really cover.
No, he gets a trophy later.
Yeah, he gets a trophy. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Tongue-in-cheek trophy.
Yeah.
All right. And then finally, we've got you were really excited.
So you've got the Billy Mack, who is an aging ex kind of over-the-hill rock star who very cynically tries to turn one of his love songs into a Christmas song.
Not even his.
You're right. It's not even his. It's like
it's a Trogs. I had to look this up.
Yeah,
because I hate that song.
Yeah, I do too. It's like love is all around us, and it makes me nauseous. It's like reminds me of being at the dentist.
Those are horrible lyrics.
Yeah. Yeah, it's actually, oh God. Anyway, okay, love songs in the 70s, don't ever listen to lyrics, I think is the thing. Unless you're talking about Joni Mitchell, which we'll get to in a minute. Okay, so we've got Gregor Fisher plays his manager,
Joe.
his long-suffering manager, Joe. So we got Billy Mack and we've got Joe. That's another relationship.
Mm-hmm. And Billy Mack is portrayed by the incredible Bill Nighy.
Bill Nighy. Mm-hmm. Bill Nighy.
Mm-hmm.
E.
No, it's I swear he pronounces it Nighy.
Oh, okay, good.
Mm-hmm. But I could be wrong.
No, I'm good. I believe you. I actually realize I've never actually heard him say his name. Okay, so do we have everybody?
I believe that's every one of the main pieces. They'll have side people.
There are side people.
Because when we get to Harry and Karen, there is also an important character named Mia.
Right.
Who is Harry's secretary.
Right. Who is played by, I am going to butcher this, Heike McCutcheon.
You had a better chance of doing that than I did.
Who knows? That was a coin toss. And I am so sorry because actually she did a great job with a terrible character.
I was about to say, I want to give respect to the actress because I imagine that generations of people have blamed her in the same way that Angela Featherstone was almost, destroyed for being the one who broke up Ross and Rachel and Friends, even though she is an actress who is portraying somebody. Also, oh God, I don't want to keep saying we'll get there, but let's be perfectly honest. Yes, when someone cheats on their spouse and we love the relationship, guess what? The person who is also cheating and in the relationship bears responsibility.
Right.
So this has no bearing on Mia, although she is...
Mia's like kind of...
She's very aggressive.
Mia's really aggressive. But, in a way that like I have issues with outside of just cheating on someone. But anyway.
But the actress...
Yes, is like great. Yeah, and super...
Has adequately portrayed the character in a way that we have had a reaction to it.
Yeah, I thought she did great. Like... Yeah, I really...
Therefore, congratulations.
Like her. So, yeah, I mean, in general, I think one thing you cannot fault this movie for is the acting.
Or the fact that, and I mentioned this in part 1, this movie made me cry.
Yes, it made me cry. So this movie opens with a scene at Heathrow, and it's actually the Hugh Grant, who plays the Prime Minister, who we only learn his name like at the very end. His name is David. He says basically he's like, whenever I feel down, I think of the arrivals gate at Heathrow Airport. And there's like, as he gives this monologue and explains those feelings, there's all these scenes of people like reuniting, and not just lovers, but families of all different, just from everywhere, friends, children with their grandparents. Like it's really beautiful. And I have to say, I've seen this movie. I've seen actually that scene a few times, for whatever reason. And every time it literally, I can't even think about it without like wanting to burst into tears. Like it makes me want to.
Is it a happy cry because of the family?
Well, yeah. And then I feel like bad for not calling my parents, but everything redounds to guilt for me. So,
whereas I brought up that piece again because I cried at the funeral scene.
Oh, me too. Yeah.
That's where it happened for me. And it was...
What other places?
Oh, no, just there.
Really?
That was the only spot where I cried.
Not even at the end with the last Heathrow? No?
No, because I'm happy at the end of this for the most part. There's a lot of bittersweetness.
I mean, all my tears are happy tears.
Oh, my tears are sad tears.
Oh, I mean, the funeral was rough.
The funeral was rough. And also, there have been some recent death in my family.
Yeah, so it hits you kind of.
Watching somebody honor them while still trying to laugh at the good times, but still holding back the tears is that's a very powerful way of getting me to become a heap.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And also just the fact that it goes from that to the Bay City Rollers.
Yeah.
And I know it's meant to be humorous, but at the same time, I'm just like, but the montage of photos.
I know, and you don't know anything about her except for you never really learn that much about her except for these moments. But
and you don't
the montage, is so like, you just get it. It's a nice touch.
I mean,
I cried pretty much, I think, at every scene.
Except,
I mean, like all of the getting like
Okay.
that first scene, and then that obviously the funeral scene, but then like
you cried when Colin got what he wanted because that was.
oh yeah, that was a really. I mean, I think that is the one that really tugged at my heartstrings the most.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where would you like to begin?
I actually let's begin. We started talking about it. Let's begin with Carrie and Harriet. Sorry, Karen and Harry and Mia. It's Emma Thompson and Alan Rickman, and they have kids.
Mm-hmm.
They're married. David owns an agency. I think if
Harry.
you
said you did.
I keep doing this.
I did it too.
Yeah, I blame you. So
Alan Rickman, Harry.
yeah, he owns an agency, and in part one, we kind of argued about what kind of agency he owns, but it sort of doesn't really matter.
Well, if he does own it, and I'm correct, he doesn't own it because you don't own a nonprofit.
Okay, he runs an agency.
Yeah.
He's the director. Yeah, we don't know if he owns it, but whatever. He runs this agency. You see him in a very comfortable and very, a really, what seems like a very nice life with Karen.
And if it weren't for this,
with 2 children.
yeah, and if it wasn't for this third party trying to come in and steal my husband, this would be #goals for me.
Oh, totally. Yeah. And so anyway, what happens during the course of this is that his secretary, Mia, basically just keeps making these incredibly suggestive comments to him. Like literally every conversation they have is essentially a single entendre. Like everything she says is like,
oh, in this gallery where we're going to have this Christmas party, there's going to be a lot of dark places for us to sneak off to.
Right. And then later on, she literally says like, I am doing this all for you. And she like spreads her legs a little bit in the chair.
You can do anything.
Right. And then she's like, you should buy me a present. And then he goes and buys her a necklace with a heart on it.
Mm-hmm.
Even though like his reaction is like bumbling and kind of like, this is weird.
And he was weird and bumbling before the introduction of Rowan Atkinson.
Yes. Oh my God. Who's like the best thing. And then, and who comes in later to help Sam little boy.
Sam little boy.
Sam the little boy. Sam little boy. Sam little boy. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, they're all connected. That's the movie. There we go. No, but like, so Mia is like, relentless.
She's not subtle.
No. And to a point where I'm like, okay, this is ridiculous. And it's not even like, oh, it's like a will he won't be, like he ends up buying this, like she has to buy a present and she says, buy me something pretty. And he goes and buys her a necklace, like at Harrods, for God's sake. It's not like he's like, I went to Target and I bought this like, nice piece of costume jewelry. I mean, it probably is costume jewelry, but like, and then.
Hold on.
Yeah.
What is Harrods?
Harrods is a large, and it looks like it's Harrods, but it's like, I don't know. Well, it's like a high-end, regardless, they are in a high-end department store in London.
Okay. So what is the American equivalent? Because I thought you were about to say like, and he got it at Harrods. And I'm like, is that like JCPenney? Because they have nice things too.
No, it's more like Neiman Marcus. I think.
That's expensive.
Yeah. I mean, even if it's not Harrods, which I think it looks like, now I'm like questioning my own thing, but it's still they're in a nice department store. They're not in a JCPenney.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God. I've not been to a JCPenney in like, are they here in the Bay Area?
Oh yeah.
Where?
Down the street.
Really?
There's
I
one
had
there.
No idea. Oh my God, I used to love JCPenney.
Oh, okay. Well, we can go
I
shopping.
think I bought my prom dress there.
Oh, nice.
Okay, so but it's like a nice store. I guess that's my point. Is like they're in a nice store with gift and where Rowan Atkinson does gift wrapping.
He does gift wrapping.
But And then
I want to go back to that necklace for a second.
yeah.
All due respect to the people who like that style. Ew.
Oh God, it was awful. I mean, it was 2003. I mean, there was,
It looked like it was like a locket, and then the gold was like sprayed macaroni.
yeah,
in gold.
It looked super, super
Chunky
and cheap. It looked like a necklace that you would buy at Target. And
the Target has like,
but I have a lot of Target. I love costume jewelry.
No, like where it's picked up is irrelevant,
Right.
To me, it was just like.
But I guess this is the idea. Like my point with where it was picked up is that I think you're supposed to believe that this is this nice piece of jewelry. It's not like a throwaway, like, oh,
That's what I wanted to clarify. Well, also, it's nice enough to where when Karen sees it, she's like, oh, she's excited by it. So at the very least, it's something.
I mean, I remember the style of like those kind of chunky like things. But I didn't think it was that attractive either. And it had like, rubies. Yeah. But like, why buy something, one that kind of distinctive, and also like a heart of all things.
While you're shopping with your
Wife.
I know it's hard to get out for the holidays.
Yeah, but I mean, really, yeah. And so basically she spies, she kind of his wife sees it, and thinks he's buying it he bought it for her. Mm-hmm. And was like, oh, this is so nice. And they kind of have a thing where they, it's like, oh, they've kind of gotten into like, oh, she loves scarves, like, which I love scarves. But
it was, so Ryan had to point this out to me as part of their rut, this is a guy who will just on autopilot buy her scarves for Christmas.
Right.
And then they have a conversation about Joni Mitchell and how it was such an important part of her, what was it? Her emotional maturity?
Said, this is what made her, like took her from being like a frigid English woman and kind of taught her how to feel. And then he actually says, no one, oh, are you still listening to Joni Mitchell? Okay. Rickman.
There's no statute of limitations on music.
Also, Joni effing Mitchell. Like, no one should ever stop listening to Joni Mitchell.
I take that back. There should be a statute of limitations on the Bay City Rollers.
I'm with you on that. I feel like there's certain music, maybe it's statute of limitations, but Joni Mitchell is amazing. Anyway, so what he really buys her is a Joni Mitchell album that she doesn't have, which would be quite a sensitive gift if
she wasn't,
because he hates Joni Mitchell. So it's like basically buying something for her that he hates. It's very sweet, but it means that he bought a necklace with a heart on it for another woman. And she finds this out on like right before Christmas.
Oh, right before they're leaving for the Christmas play for the children. I don't want to cut this emotional moment, but I'm also going to retract my Bay City Rollers comment. As somebody who still listens to Starship, there is no statute of limitations on music.
That's true. I mean, one of your favorite songs is Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now, which
who said anything
makes
about favorite?
Well, that you enjoy that song.
It's in like my top 700, Polina.
Okay, it's not your favorite. You never said it was your favorite. You did say it.
Don't put out false information.
Okay, you're right. You're right. That was fake news, and I am sorry.
I don't use those
I
words.
retract. So
back to the emotionalness of it.
Right.
We talked about, props to the actress who played Mia. I want to give props to Emma Thompson.
Yeah, I feel like that's, of course, because she does this amazing thing where she basically goes upstairs and she's like, great, 1 minute. And sort of around her family, she has to act like nothing's up. And then she runs upstairs and listens to a Joni Mitchell song. And on the album, I think. And she basically tries to get out enough tears so she can get herself together to go on with the rest of the thing. And it's watching her do it is amazing.
It's heartbreaking, while at the same time it's just like slow clap to the talent of pulling off so much with no dialogue.
Right. I mean, when I watched it, I was so in that moment, and that, I kind of ended up rewatching it because I wanted to I'm like, how do you do this? Like just for, she's amazing.
Because you weren't fully heartbroken. So you decided to rewind it and just completely
I think I just wanted to enjoy, watch Emma. I was like, I watched it once for the emotional thing. I started crying then. That was a very emotional moment.
No funeral. So I was okay.
Yeah, good point. Well,
I can hold on to the rage of Harry and shaking my fist at him. She did better than I did.
No,
I was full of rage,
yeah.
and she was just like, "Okay, let's get this out of my system. Got to get the kids to the."
That's the thing.
To
like
the
we
play.
I can't ruin Christmas
For
even
these kids.
for the kids. Even though my Christmas has been ruined for now and probably for a very long time to come.
That is a human being that is selfless in a way that I can't even describe right now.
Right. And she kind of knows. She saw Harry and Mia, but together at the Christmas party. Yeah. Where they were dancing together, which I'm
inappropriate.
sorry, Harry, dude, just don't dance with her. Just don't. Don't buy her a friggin' present with a heart on it. What is going on? Now, you never actually see if Harry and Mia get together. And do you think they do?
Well, again,
are we saving that for later?
No. Well, yes, we are saving that for later, but again, with the whole is and is not canon scenario,
right?
It does not appear in Red Nose actually, which we talked about. But the spouse of Richard Curtis, who is also, I believe, his writing partner, has commented publicly on what happens and what and confirms whether or not it happened.
And
we will get there.
Okay.
So,
but I think, when he finds out, he says that he's foolish.
When she confronts him.
Right.
Let's not make this about when he finds out that she knows. No, she confronts him.
She does.
And she does it in a way that is just, straight to the heart.
Yeah.
And also just she said,
they're in a public place.
Yeah. Yeah, and she still manages to turn, smile, and then go back to it because he calls himself a fool. And she's like, well, yeah, but you also made a fool out of me.
You made a fool out of what I thought our marriage was or something like that. It was that's not the actual line, but that's the thing. That basically you've now cast a pall on what my past as well. Yeah. So, yeah. And actually the one, you see her, she actually runs into David, which we'll get to in a minute, her brother. And she gives him these, she can't stop hugging him. And it's this is the, she didn't tell him what just happened to her.
Yep. Which again, there's that whole strength thing. Yeah. Suffering alone.
Right.
Well, until
but she just finds such comfort with seeing his face. So I thought that was amazing. The way she did that too.
Yeah.
The Alan Rickman character, and especially after he tells Sarah basically you have to go for another coworker of theirs who I feel like his whole thing is very questionable.
Yep. That's Harry and Karen. So it all kind of culminates at this children's pageant.
Yeah.
With the nativity scene.
Where you realize how everyone knows, that's one of the other things where you realize how people know each other.
Yeah. So do you want to go Prime Minister?
Yeah.
Through Karen?
Let's move on.
So David, Hugh Grant's character, newly elected? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry. I don't know.
International
politics bad.
Well, yeah. I mean, they have
elected, appointed.
Kind of elected. God, I don't know what they refer to them as because I just realized they have that whole thing where it's it doesn't matter. Okay. We'll get we don't need to talk about British politics.
He is in office. He is introduced to his new staff. One of the staff members is his catering manager, Natalie, and it becomes Bumble Central.
Right. They're both super mumbling and it's starts on his first day.
Yes.
As prime, where he moves into 10 Downing Street and he's there.
And he does it even before she's there, which is even better because you get to see a little bit of his personality. Terrence, Terrence, very nice to meet you. I had an uncle named Terrence. Didn't like him. He's dead.
Yeah. It's I'm like,
uh-huh.
It's a typical Hugh Grant, I'm just playing an adult. I'm not really an adult. Don't take anything I say seriously.
And then everyone falls in love with him.
Yeah. And he always looks charming and befuddled.
And then Natalie, he comes to say hello to her. And then I guess in turn, she's just like a mirror of him where she's just like, oh shit, I can't believe I just said shit. And now I've said it twice.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, it's okay. You didn't say fuck. And then she says fuck.
Yeah, I was really worried I was going to fuck up on my first day. Oh, piss it.
Yeah. And then everyone is like nice to her, kind of like afterwards, which is odd. Like no one's like, because she's new. She's like, everyone else has worked in the residence for a long time.
Yeah.
And
she's very sweet.
Yeah, she's super sweet. And she is like already, she was saying, you know, I'm glad it's you. Like I was a fan. And she even says, I wouldn't bring the chocolate cookies to anybody else. I would bring I'd bring the bad biscuits.
Oh, I'd miss that part.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's always this like other awkwardness, like he's in a meeting and they're actually pushing him to say like, you have this meeting with the president of the United States, you know, you got to show strength and you got to show this and and then he's just like, oh, we're going to stay the course. We're going to do just fine. But who do I have to screw to get a chocolate cookie and some tea around here? Exactly. And then she walks in and it's like, wah, wah.
Yep. So, and he's like, oh God. And then he even like at one point is so like has these feelings for her that he basically like sends her away. But this is the weird part about this. So at one point the president of the United States comes, played by Billy Bob Thornton, and he there's like the whole special relationship, blah blah blah, and they have a meeting and it's like it's fine. And then it seems like basically it's like, well, I'm the really the USA. Yeah, I'm the really powerful one. You're gonna, we're gonna like nod and smile and be in agreement. And then basically he leaves. David leaves the room for a minute, and he realizes that basically the president of the United States has started to is essentially cornering Natalie, and Natalie is clearly super uncomfortable and is like, and not just like, not like in a fanning way. She's like super uncomfortable. And so then he gives this crazy speech where this is another thing where I'm like, oh, they just got to say like a, kind of a fuck you to the US. Is like, it basically, he's like, no, it's not going to be business as usual. And everyone like gets all emotional and he stands up and he's like,
the music swells.
And he gives this like dramatic speech about like, the U.S. just takes what they want, and we're not going to allow that anymore. Which, like, when you're giving a public, clearly is not how it works. Actually, now kind of is how it works.
But in 2003,
this is not how it worked.
But let's be honest, after he made that speech, we were chanting, "You of K, you of K, you of K."
I don't think it's the United of Kingdom,
but I have that many syllables to work with.
How about anyway, I feel like the British have really, they have good chance. So I think, they'll take, I'm sure they have something really, really good. But it's weird too, because after that his assistant, who I love this actress, and her name escapes me. And I actually looked it up earlier and then didn't leave it on my phone, which is dumb.
Keep talking, I'll look it up.
Thank you. I
don't like her because she called Natalie chubby.
Well, yeah, but if you see her in other things, you will love her. There's a great...
I don't like the writer. Go on.
Yeah. But yeah, and so then they call her the chubby one. Like, this is a place of business, people. Like, the chubby one.
Mm-hmm.
Nina Sosanya, she's in a bunch of great things. Killing Eve. Mm-hmm. She's in W1A, which is a hysterical comedy from the BBC that is about the BBC. It's really great and it's very short. She's also in Last Tango in Halifax, which is a really great ensemble series about kind of a blended family.
Does she call anyone chubby in those, various projects?
No, she does not.
Better writers.
No, she does not, but she gets kind of insulted a little bit in that. But anyway, she's I just really like her, but so they're like, oh, you mean the chubby one? And then just like make some remark about her thighs, which like, even if they did call her the chubby tree trunks, even if they did, it's like not a thing you say to your boss, especially if your boss is the prime minister of the UK.
Like other countries might be okay.
I mean, I guess, I don't know. I'm just saying right.
Yep.
Right. It never okay. I don't know. Maybe there's some, never okay. And he says, so he never really deals with the fact that she was that like Karen is basically sexually assaulted. And sends her away because he has a crush on her. When this really, really, really pissed me off, because
here we go.
Here's the deal: if she is serving the prime minister, that means that she like that. If she is asked to stop serving the prime minister and sort of do other things, it's essentially a demotion.
Yes,
because then in your interview, they're like, you can't say in an interview for the next job, you can't say I'm the one who, who served the prime minister, worked with him, like worked with heads of state. Like it's a different thing. And it's literally based only on her feelings. And if I were her, I would feel like it is based on the fact that the president of the United States came on to me. And I just think that's terrible. However, having said that, I don't know why I'd like love this storyline. I'm not sure why. And it makes me I used to love this storyline actually, but now this whole like sexual harassment thing really, really, really makes me mad.
Oh, it gets worse. Remember, she apologizes?
Yes, of course.
Nothing happened.
I know. She's like, because she has feelings for him.
Mm-hmm. And she thinks he's upset because...
Yeah.
What also...
And actually, that was the other thing that's really irritating is basically he gives this speech and, you're meant to believe that essentially he is upset that it's his woman. Yeah.
You can't take our things.
Yeah. It's so, oh my God, the depth of the problematicness of this.
But the music's well played.
But then I have all these feelings. Like, I don't know what to do with them.
Channel them into punching Colin.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yes.
Or Harry.
But he's too easy. Oh, God. I really want to punch Harry. But I will say, like, their whole thing with their marriage was, really kind of an amazing thing. But, okay.
So David and Natalie.
Yeah.
But she writes him a card. And I would like to point this out again. Mm-hmm. Natalie writes a card to David. And once again, it is the female putting herself out there. Mm-hmm. Putting her feelings forward instead of just like shrinking away or...
That I thought was really cool.
Though
completely inappropriate because they work together.
Right.
And he is her boss.
Right. But when John and Judy do it, it's amazing. Anyways.
Yeah. But they work together.
They're also equal.
They're equals.
There is no superior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is my problem with the Harry and Mia thing too.
Right. Harry and Mia problem.
Yeah.
Superior.
Also, but like, I will say that the power dynamic between the prime minister and the head of catering is even larger.
Yes. Also correct. I'm agreeing with all of the things that you say. But something that was kind of funny, when Natalie shared that her ex-boyfriend, basically called her chubby.
Yeah, the chubby thing comes up a lot in this movie, which is kind of weird. I mean, for her, which is weird because she's beautiful.
Well, that's the...
But it doesn't even matter.
Well, no, it also comes up with Aurelia's sister in the Colin Firth Aurelia thing. Remember her chubby sister?
Oh, yeah. But even like the family, when later on David basically tracks her down on Christmas.
That is correct. What else was I getting at? What I was gonna say is I forget. Keep talking. It'll come to me later.
Yeah. So anyway, they basically he tracks her down, which is funny because he just ends up showing up at all of these houses and trying to be cool, which doesn't work. At one point, he starts caroling.
That's again his charismaticness, his fact that he's so charming.
Right.
And it also comes up in there. He has a dancing scene, and I celebrate this dancing scene. Mm-hmm. Once again, the power of the soundtrack.
Right.
Where he's dancing to Jump for My Love by the Pointer Sisters. Yeah. Whereas this is in my top 5 karaoke songs.
Yeah, Jump is great. I think we have nothing but agreement on that song.
But that song is also like one of those things where like, wait, this song is about what now? What am I jumping for?
I don't want to. I'm not ruining. I ruined one song. My work here is done.
No, this was already well, this is just my ignorance. Yeah. So, I mean, he comes to her, again, it all coming together. I guess she has like a nephew. So who's the octopus? Yeah,
it's a nephew.
It's a nephew. It's a family member of some kind that they're all going to this children's concerty thingy. Yeah. So that's where he comes into. And
children's Christmas pageant where the nativity is like
has lobsters
and
an octopus.
Yeah.
And this is the other thing is that when David runs into Karen at the pageant thing, she even says to Natalie like, "Oh, I'm the catering manager." She's just like, oh, look out for him. 20 years ago he would have been just your type, or you would have been just his type.
And she's like, "No, I'm not joking." Yeah. She's like, "Not joking.
I'm not joking." But anyways,
yeah.
But it's so weirdly immature, just being caught making out in the back of a
and I guess like
back of a school.
Yeah, the back of a school theater, and yet like, I don't know,
but it's okay because he's so charming,
I guess, and like and that makes me like, what is wrong with me? Anyway, let's move on to someone else.
No, it's okay. I enjoy problematic,
but yet like I kind of love this storyline. I'm like not sure why what's wrong with me. Okay, so let's move on to the Joanna, Daniel, and Sam. So Daniel, loses his wife. Sam loses his mother, and now they have to they're forging, a life together as two guys.
I mean, there was the funeral, and I got to say that kid is amazingly well adjusted for somebody who lost his mom. Mm-hmm. He's in love with this girl, Joanna, and
right. Who's an American?
Who's
the cool girl in school?
Again, Daniel has some parenting that he'll need to do and he'll need to get better at. But I love that he takes a problem-solving approach to everything.
Right.
And he initially tries to cast it off as just like, oh, you're in love. Oh, thank God.
Well, because he's like, Sam is isolating himself.
Mm-hmm. And when there's, you lose your mom, you would assume that would be,
really, and really he's deep. Like, and he's trying to form, and he's like, he's a stepfather. So he's like, how do I do this? How do I be,
And his mother, the mother's, so the girl that Sam is in love with is Joanna, and Daniel's wife who passed away, and Sam's mom also Joanna,
right?
So there's that version of it, but there's some great lines in there, Daniel and Sam's dynamic of just the whole like, oh, you're right, love, that's great that's all it is. She's like, what could be worse than having your what is it, your heart kicked by love?
Something like that, which is of course Daniel has had his heart kicked by love because he's lost the love of his life.
And I like that his answer is, we need Kate and Leo.
Right. I know. And then they do like that was adorable. They do the Titanic thing.
Which I read in trivia means that you have Kate Winslet in there in archive footage, which means you have all of the main characters from Sense and Sensibility in this movie together.
Oh my God. Ta-da. Nice. Yeah, and so, I don't know, their whole relationship is really sweet because then Sam basically is like, I have a plan, I'm going to become a musician because musicians get girls. Now, if only Colin spent a little more time developing some actual skills. Sorry, okay.
Still so mad.
But like, I should be madder at Harry and I was about to say, David.
You're pretty mad.
I'm just like suddenly, obviously phase 2 is my like rage. Anyway, so Danny, so he becomes a drummer, and they do. Actually, this is one of my favorite Christmas songs. All I Want for Christmas Is You.
Love that song.
Yeah, me too.
I love that song.
And she it rocks it. Like she's this amazing musician.
Yeah.
And he actually learns to play the drums.
Yeah, he did a good job.
Yeah.
At least according to the story.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
He did good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so she's actually in true rom-com fashion. She's leaving that night. She's going back to America. Right after the play.
Yeah, nothing. Yeah,
no one does this.
Nobody does this. No one's like, okay, so we're gonna do a Christmas pageant, and then we're gonna fly to America.
Yeah.
but then again, maybe his mom is just like, her mom is one of those, like, I don't know, people who travel a lot don't have that need to like, well, I have to, I have to make sure everything's, I need a lot of like psychological time to get everywhere. But literally, yeah, it's like, we're just going to go to the airport. Like the car is packed.
But was like, we're moving back to America. Was all their stuff in the trunk?
Yeah, that's what, like, nothing about this made sense. But whatever. That's, the logic is not a thing.
I can't even take a day trip like that.
Oh, yeah, no. I mean, so then there's this whole airport scene where Daniel encourages Sam basically to like run through security, break through security.
Go for it.
Which is, the beginning of the questionable parenting.
Oh, no, that was questionable way back in the beginning.
But I'm saying that, this is the kind of things to lead to you quite literally losing your children, them being taken. But yeah, I don't know. So that's really sweet. But at one point, Sam and Daniel, assist once again, the Rowan Atkinson character comes in, and he
well-timed, couldn't find his boarding pass, and then as he like removes his gloves and removes his various things, and it's just like taking off his coat, and
which is the same thing he did when he was wrapping the present,
very
like making
slowly,
everything, taking everything, and then you realize he's doing it on purpose,
right? Because Sam slips through, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I can't find it." He takes all of his stuff, and he just kind of gives a knowing look to Daniel, and then goes off, and it's like, woo!
And then you realize that actually Sam and Joanna didn't know who Sam was. She knew his name.
Oh, she did know who he was. Yeah. I thought you said didn't.
And then he basically comes back to Daniel, and he's just like beaming because he's so happy. He's like, "I did it, even though I know she's going away. I did it." And then you see him.
She also kisses him.
Yeah, but that's later, right?
Oh wait, no, you're right.
Yeah, then she comes out, and then I cried at that point.
You cried when
kisses.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a movie crier. What can I say?
And then he was banned for airports forever.
Oh yeah, he's on some no-fly list. I mean, that's madness. So yeah, but at one point, Sam being the precocious kid character goes, "I've never asked you about your love life," and he's like, "Oh, Claudia, I want." He's like, "Well, it's nothing. I'm just waiting for Claudia Schiffer or something like that."
Something like that. It's a running gag.
Yeah. And then he ends up running into this woman, Carol, who looks exactly like Claudia Schiffer because she's played by Claudia Schiffer, who is a kid at Sam's school.
She has a kid at Sam's school.
And then that's their meet cute.
That's theirs. Yeah, and it's great because it's in mid. Quick, we gotta go. She's on her way to the airport.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's have a few minutes to pause for 45 seconds as there's this moment between this woman who looks like Claudia Schiffer, but isn't Claudia Schiffer, but is Claudia Schiffer.
I know. It's like, go. Okay, so you're just waiting around for someone who looks like Claudia Schiffer.
I mean, that's what I do.
Also, like, by the time of this movie, it's been, I don't really know the timeline of the funeral, but it hasn't really been that long.
It's been about a month.
Yeah.
Because there was, like, the beginning, like, didn't it start with, like, 5 weeks before Christmas? And
oh, yeah.
Something like
anyway,
that. Yeah.
I'm just saying. Just putting that out there.
I mean, there is no appropriate mourning period,
no, there
et
is
cetera,
not.
et cetera, et cetera.
There is not.
But at the same
Everyone
time,
deals with grief in their own way. It just sort of, it's like a little...
Well, let me put you this way. Sam is really not grieving the loss of his mom.
I mean, he does say, I think about her all the time, too.
Aww.
So,
okay, so
I don't know. I mean, and at the funeral, like when you see him, he's pretty devastated.
Oh, no, I'm devastated.
I know.
I don't want that.
Well, I think that's why, they kind of threw, so you don't feel bad about Daniel. I don't know. I don't really understand the whole Carol thing. I think it's cute.
Well, this will all culminate at the end at the airport scene.
Right.
But before we do that, you should probably talk about how Sam was inspired to become a rock star.
Yes. So then we've got Billy, Mack, and Joe. Where basically, Billy Mack is a super, super cynical, like former rock star who basically spends most of the movie, and you hear him. It's kind of happening in the background. It's like the cultural thing that's happening in the background is he's trying to become number one with this super, super cynical grab. And the thing that you realize is that his longtime manager, his long-suffering manager is
Joe?
Is Joe. And at the end, he realizes this is the, this is actually the longest and best relationship he's had. And as he's sort of achieving stardom, he leaves a party at Elton John's house.
Because he does get number one.
Yes. And he actually, and it's like, it's kind of cute. Like he's super obnoxious. He keeps saying the wrong thing kind of on purpose to try to be outrageous. But Joe is always there to pick up the pieces. And you see that Joe's like alone on Christmas and they hang out and they drink beer and watch porn or something like that.
Well,
definitely porn.
That was his suggestion.
Yeah. Maybe they do something else.
And the funny thing is that he does a kind of a shoulder flourish when he says that. Now, let's get drunk and watch porn.
Yes. He does a lot of he's a great comic actor. So that was really fun. I love that. I don't know. I thought their whole thing was very sweet.
It's a fun relationship, but my God, like who's grosser?
That's the thing.
The president or
or
the guy who says, if I get a number one album, I will strip naked on Christmas Eve.
Right, which he does end up doing. Which actually is why Sam is one of the reasons that Sam is able to kind of cut through some of the security is because everyone's watching this on television.
Yes. I was about to say,
God, we just talked about everyone, all of them.
I was about to say, don't tell me that Sam got the idea because of the naked man on TV.
Yeah. So, and that's how, I forgot that's what inspires him.
Yes, that is correct.
Oh my God, Jesus, all these people. So, should we let's do it. So how do you think let's go
look
back
at who was actually in a position to fall in love.
Right. That's a good idea.
So Joe and Billy are a long-standing friendship.
Yes.
And they have, wonderful relationship, but this is a friendship.
Yes.
So we're just going to
I don't think
move right along. We will acknowledge, but move on.
Yes.
All right. So Harry and Karen, they're a couple, married all these years.
Yes.
This is a couple finding a rocky patch.
This is a very difficult it's really difficult to do the when did they fall in love thing.
Well, there's also 1,200 couples and variations to work with, so we can just go.
Yeah.
All right. So Harry and Karen, they're not a when did they fall in love scenario.
No.
All right.
Mia and Harry, do you think they ever fell in love? No.
I don't think so.
No.
I think Mia is just looking for her own amusement and has found something that she wanted.
Yeah.
I don't think she's in love with him. And Harry is confused by the shiny toy.
Right.
And I don't want to characterize her as that way, but it's...
No, I think it's true. I think she likes the game. She's enjoying the game.
And he is flattered by the attention.
Yeah.
Ugh. That's how I feel about that. Sam was in love with Joanna, so he claims... which is fine. So there's nothing for us to really track.
No. And Daniel and Carol kind of have
they literally met.
Yeah. And then you see them dating
in a relationship a month later.
David and Natalie. I mean, you kind of have to, I think they fell in love at first sight.
So kind of like we talked about with Sarah talking about how it took her 30 minutes to fall in love with Carl in a roundabout kind of way. I think the second Natalie says fuck immediately with no irony, I think that's when he fell in love with her.
Aww.
Because this is somebody who's trying so damn hard.
Yeah.
And at the end of their interaction, he actually turns around and goes, oh dear.
Yeah, exactly. So I think, well, actually, I'm going to amend that because Karen knew who he was. I think she actually had a crush on him. She knew who David was, right?
You mean Karen, his sister?
Oh my God, I'm sorry. Well, she obviously knew who he was. Natalie knew who, had a crush on him while he was running.
Oh yeah, that's right. She did know that. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Well, that's... Okay, so you're amending. So you're thinking that she was in love with him before she met him?
I think she had a huge crush on him. But I think then when she actually was in the same room with him, she's like, oh, holy shit.
Oh, so, okay. So she did that early. I'm going to say that for him, it was at that moment.
Yeah, I agree.
And
she wouldn't have known it.
And I agree with you.
that you're right, she probably was. And I think that's where all the nervousness came from. Not because he's a powerful man, but because of...
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That makes more sense, actually, now that I think about it.
I like her.
Yeah. Yeah, she's super charming and sweet and wants to do a good job. So,
yes.
Now what happens to them?
What happens to them? Okay.
So, should we start with Karen, Harry, and Mia?
Karen, Harry, and Mia. Well, I alluded to it earlier about whether or not that this was a emotional affair or a physical one.
Right.
And that actually is something that Karen brings up. It's one thing to find out if it's, is it love and sex, or is it just love, or is it just, that, and that's something that comes out in hers. Do you want to speak first before I tell you what the people who are part of the creative process said, but you'll probably veto it anyways because
I don't believe in that shit.
Except for when you do.
Well, I think that a month later you see they're trying, like they haven't really come back together. I actually think they separate for a little while and they go to therapy, and I think they get back together at that point.
Okay.
I think that the Mia thing, I think they have one night and that's it. But I actually think it blows up in Harry's face because it creates a really awkward thing in the office.
You're thinking office politics too.
Yeah, and I think I think Mia uses it to sort of get a large severance and move out. So that's my theory. I do think that they do make it back to each other, but I think it's
you think Harry and Karen make it back to each other? Okay,
but I think it takes a lot.
Yep.
I think they do separate, and then
so according to, dang it, I didn't get the actual source, but I think it is
what happens
writing partner. She stated that yes, he did have a sexual affair with Mia.
Okay.
But I agree with you that it was a one-time situation because, again, it was something that was a game for Mia. And then in having it, kind of like with what I thought was happening with Colin and Harriet. It's like there is something to gain here because now that she's gotten the physical aspect of it, now she can get like shiny trinkets and what have yous.
Right.
But eventually, because of the whole blow up at the pageant, Harry decides that he wants to end this, and Mia will make it difficult. But like you said, she will leave, but not without getting her due. But she also realizes that, well, this isn't fun anymore because she can't, do all the parts that she wants to because the pieces that were, really intriguing him, it's like a weird power thing.
Right.
What I think is going to happen is that there isn't a separation. There's going to be like an emotional separation, but because Karen is so devoted, she's going to try to keep the family together the whole way. But there is so much resentment there. And she's actually going to like be very happy when he goes on his business trips. So you see at the end of the movie where he comes back, she's like, Dad's home.
I know, like just, hi.
Yeah. And it's just like, all right, everyone, let's get home. And you can see just the pain that she has.
Yeah.
And she's going to hold on to this and she's going to resent it for a really long time. But I think similar to like the whole, he didn't know her very well because of the whole Joni Mitchell ignorance and the scars situation. I think this is going to take a long time.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's a lot of therapy.
There's a lot of couples counseling that's going to be needed to put this couple back together.
Well, and I think it's not just I think it's like I think also there's a lot of little hints that she drops that basically she is feeling dissatisfied in her life right now. And so I think a big part of it is that they have to kind of rewrite the rules of that marriage.
Especially when your older brother's the prime minister.
Right.
She states it outright.
Yeah. She's like, this is uncomfortable. Like, she's like, yeah, it makes me feel bad. And she like talks about how she feels like she's becoming, a little like boring and, mumsy. So yeah. Okay. So
lots of work, but I want them back together.
Me too.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. So, Sam and Joanna, I guess Joanna comes back and visits at the end. Do you think that they I don't know. It's weird. It's like they're 8 or something or 10. I don't know. 10.
I think
10 or 11. Like
I think they're supposed to be like
maybe 12.
13,
Yeah, I think you're right. You're right. 12,
like
16. Because she's so much taller and more sort of like, adult than he is.
Right. Dang it. I didn't mention it. So Red Nose actually.
What's the Red Nose actually?
Well, Red Nose actually had one for nothing for Karen and Harry because Alan Rickman had passed away.
Right.
Before they had come this all together. So they decided to just, not even reference anything, but instead just drop anything for the storyline. So that's, there. Sam and Joanna and Daniel are part of that. A part of that storyline.
And what happens?
Well, it's weird, but Sam comes back. Apparently he's been living abroad. But there's a conversation that they have and eventually gets to the point where he says, hey, do you remember? No, I think something about, they talk about love and eventually gets to the point where it's just like, well, the only person I think you ever were really in love with was that girl, Joanna. He's like, well, that's actually why I'm here. And she comes up.
Oh.
And apparently they found each other again. Well, I guess he was in New York. And so she comes to ask him if she could marry his son.
Oh.
And it's really sweet. And I'm going to go with that.
Actually.
The only thing I
do like it.
The only thing that I disagree with though is that the actor has a horrible mustache and it's just like, no, please, Thomas.
I don't
Sangster.
really want to talk about Daniel and Carol. I just don't.
Well, they're I don't know.
Do you want to?
I don't know. He seemed very alone on that bench he was sitting at the beginning of that scene. So I don't know. I don't know if Carol's around. Maybe she got taken. I don't know.
All right. So what do you think about Joe and Billy?
Also,
before we get to like
the big one.
Yeah.
I didn't mean that as a fat joke. I promise.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Damn it. Damn movie made me all mean.
The plump one.
Jeez. Well, Joe and Billy, funnily enough, are a part of that.
I would imagine
that whole thing.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but Joe, there is this kind of sad aside. Billy's being interviewed again because he has another album coming out, a charity album. He's doing another remake, and I believe they're doing another. He's doing another cover. I guess it's ZZ Top's "Give Me All Your Love," but instead they've replaced the word "love" with "money." And it's a charity
that's
album.
really good.
So I thought, okay, that's kind of funny. Ultra meta.
Yeah.
And I hope I got the name of that song right. But he said, unfortunately, my manager Joe passed away. But that is what happens. People pass away in the span of time, and I mean, hell, even in the first movie, someone died. So
that's true.
So that's what happened there. Billy is continuing his thing, and he kind of makes, in the original, in the movie, he makes reference that he had sex with Britney Spears, and in this one, he makes a joke that he had sex with one of the Kardashians, but he doesn't remember which one because you got to update those references. I think he's supposed to be Keith Richards-esque, right? So he's gonna live forever.
No,
he's probably gonna be in a Pirates of the Caribbean movie. Oh, he already was.
Good one.
Thank you.
That was a nice reference.
Thank you. Right
well
there.
Played.
Yeah,
well played.
I like it.
So what about Harry and Karen?
Are you contradicting any of these?
No, I actually like that. I mean, I'm sad. I don't want Joe to die. But I just think realistically,
you can make it so he doesn't.
No, I in a way I like it because it means that they kind of stay together.
Mm-hmm. They grew old together.
Yeah. So what about Harry and Karen?
We already talked about that.
Oh my God, I keep doing this. So David and Natalie. I was thinking of David and Natalie.
Yeah. Well,
God, this is problematic.
And ladies and gentlemen, we still have a map of this, and we're still getting it wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
David and Natalie. Well, according to the thing that I watched, they're together. He's prime minister again after a period of time where he wasn't in office, and now he's back.
Oh, God.
And he dances around the office again, and it's really weird and awkward, and he falls down the stairs. But he's dancing to Drake's Hotline Bling.
Oh. Okay.
And I chose to wipe that.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Okay. So are they together in that?
They're together in this, yeah. She actually helps him after he injures himself after falling down the stairs. But I'm wiping that one. I don't really like the one all that much because it's really, I know it's meant to be as dorky as.
I know.
But it doesn't
it's
sit
like,
right.
Yeah.
Like the story itself, it just doesn't sit right.
I know. I kind of feel weird talking about them because, like, as I said, like, I'm like, oh, charming, nice. But then.
But
like,
also.
It's not.
But it's awkward and not right. And it's not even the bumbling either.
No, it's just like the whole like
power dynamic.
Yeah, it's everything. I don't know. I'm just gonna say I've really kind of went back and forth, but just to like give me good feelings, I'm gonna say that they like stay together. Just because otherwise it's just like otherwise it's just odd and awkward and like
you don't
bad for her life, like just bad.
You don't want to give her a Lewinsky future where she becomes an advocate.
What I mean. Like, yeah, but like, you know, Lewinsky like spent years being sort of attacked. That's the thing. Like
she still is, sadly.
Yeah, but I want like, I guess what I want is that way she doesn't become like a tabloid joke.
I was about
to
say,
which is what I don't want for her.
I don't want her to be a punchline either.
I don't want that for Natalie. And so I feel like, okay, they are in fact that in love, and the country is taken with that. They are charmed by it, and that they never talk about her weight. But I know that none of these things are real, because I feel like if they broke up, it would be all talking about her weight, because I don't know why that's a thing in this movie. What about you? Where are you at with it?
Again, I feel awkward about it, but I'm right there with you. It's just like, no, I want them together because that makes it okay.
Yeah, I know, which is like not
makes
okay.
No sense.
I know, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense, but this movie makes no sense. So I'm just with it.
Certain couples don't make any sense.
Wow, we just covered them all. Oh my God, that was exhausting. All right, so I need a little. I need to shake that off. I don't know.
Yeah,
need to refresh.
Have
you any ideas?
Have you considered some aromatherapy from Frankie and Myrrh?
Oh my God, that's a great idea.
I mean, they're kind of amazing, and they sponsor our show.
If you want any of this for yourself, you should go to Frankie and Myrrh. That's FRANKIE and MYRRH. And enter the promo code HAPPILY1, HAPPILY, and the number 1. And you will get 20% off and free shipping, and you support the show. So I really hope you do that. If you, for some reason, don't want 20% off, you can still get free shipping on any order over $35 in the US. So not only are they a fantastic sponsor of the show, but they have great products that we have been enjoying a lot.
As an extra bonus.
Right. We want to introduce you to some of these products.
Yeah, we are running a contest right now. Sorry, I just got all excited.
You did. It was so cute.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so if you go to our social media and you let us know, because we just covered all of these couples.
Right.
We want to know. Let us know on Twitter or on Instagram. Who is your favorite character?
Yeah, and this is through Christmas.
Yes. So up until Christmas, let us know. You can you need to tag us or add us on Twitter or on Instagram. Let us know who your favorite character is. Favorite couple. Let us know what you think about this movie.
Yeah, and we will select someone at random to send some Frankie and Myrrh some sprays from Frankie and Myrrh.
Yeah, they're totally cool. There's That's Amore and
Under the Influence.
Very nice. Very nice names.
Both really, really nice.
And right on brand for us.
Very on brand.
So, important things on this particular contest. You can tweet at us at HEAMCast.
HEAMCAST.
And the same for Instagram. We're also on Facebook at Happily Ever Aftermath. And we want to give a shout out to the Lady Pod Squad. Since you're already going to be on social media trying to enter this contest, use the hashtag Lady Pod Squad. You can find other podcasts.
Fantastic podcasts. But whatever you're interested in. If you're feeling Scroogey about the holidays, you can find something there. If you love the holidays, you can probably find something there too.
And if you're looking for something not holiday related,
then we got you covered too. It's not all holidays. It's not.
Yeah. But we're in it now, so.
Yes.
We're just enjoying it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
we're determined to enjoy it this year.
Yeah. So up until next time.
Yes.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
Thank you. So next time we are doing something completely different. We are going to do Bonnie and Clyde, which is, actually do not have it in front of me, but I think it's 1967.
We just gave you a full education on Love Actually. You can go look up when Bonnie and Clyde was.
Exactly. Google it for yourself.
Wow, so angry.
You're so angry.
Let me spray you some Frankie and Murray. You'll be fine.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Oh, God, so much better. So thank you so much for and whatever holiday you celebrate, I hope